Welcome to Cherrystone Aqua Farms. I'm Chad Ballard. I'm the owner of the company. We've been growing shellfish since 1895, and today we're going to show you how we grow clams and how they get to your Harris Teeter stores. We are at the Cherrystone Aqua Farms Willis Wharf hatchery. Here we are responsible for spawning clams and getting them to a size where they're big enough to go out into the wild. To do that, we focus on the salinity, water temperature, and food content that we're feeding the clams. The clams are sitting on screens and we're putting water down on top of them. The water's enriched with algae, so they'll move from a 200 micron screen to a 300 to a 400 to a 500. The clams will spend about 6 weeks inside this facility. We raise specific genetic lines for our environments. When the clams come in, we put them at a certain water temperature, we start pumping them full of food, and we put them in the ideal salinity environment. This is to mimic the spawning conditions that occur in the wild. The clams begin to secrete sperm and eggs. The sperm and egg are combined and drained out of the tank, and they form the larvae that were then growing out through these whole processes. When the clams were inside, they were sitting on screens of this size, 200 to 500 microns. Once they're between 500 microns and a millimeter, we bring them out into these outside upwelling systems. In these systems, we're pulling natural seawater. The water carries the feed that they'll eat and the natural food for their entire adult lives. The clams we grow are filter feeders and remove excess nutrients and nitrogen from the water. When we take water in and feed it to the clams, it actually leaves our facilities cleaner than when it came in. Clams eat algae, which we must grow for them while they're on our land-based systems. We grow 6 to 7 different species of algae, which represent different nutritional values for the clam. Just one species alone is not a stable diet for the clams. Each milliliter of water here, which is essentially one drop of water, has about 2 million cells of algae in it. We employ over 4 marine biologists that aid us in these processes. At around 4 months, the clams are ready to leave our land-based systems and get planted in the wild. At this point, they're between a 1/3 inch and a 1/2 inch in size, and they have a fully formed shell and look exactly like the larger market-sized clams. We take them and plant them in 50-foot beds throughout our growing locations on Virginia's eastern shore. Within each 50-foot bed, we'll put approximately 40,000 clams. After about 2 years, the clams should be ready for harvest. First, the nets are peeled back. Then we line up a digging crew, which methodically goes through each bed, making sure that we get every last clam out of the bed. Once the clams are in the rake is lifted up, they're poured into a basket where they're thoroughly rinsed. The basket is then transferred onto the barge, placed in containers, where these containers will move to the packing house. So we like to wash them in the water they're actually grown in. That's why these guys are so thoroughly rotating these baskets and making sure they get all of the exterior grit off the shells of the clams. Once the clams arrive in the packing house, they're rinsed again. They're sent down a grater to size them into the different sizes that we sell. They're then counted and resized to do a final check. We think clams are the perfect food. They're a healthy, sustainable protein source that is actually improving the quality of the waters that they're grown in. We want to thank you for joining us at our clam farm. Please go to our website, clamandoyster.com, to see various ways you can prepare these wonderful clams.